sport.
Welcome back to the Barnsley Metrodome and the 888 Poker Weber Cup 13. And the action continues. Europe getting themselves back into it by taking the Baker game. So it's 4-3 to Team USA at the top of session 2. And next up, we've got a very unusual format, Cass Edwards, in the Scotch doubles.
Yes, indeed, Simon. It's 2 players from each side. The format is that Tommy Jones will lead off for the Americans. And if he doesn't get a strike, Chris Barnes will have to make the spare that Tommy leaves. And likewise with the Europeans. If the lead-off man does not strike, number 2 man will have to take the spare. Whether it be a simple single pin spare or a big split, they still have to bowl at it. And the format changes, the lead man changes every time they get a strike.
So very much about teamwork in this one. And both Mika and Stuart Williams giving a good account of themselves in the Baker game. Tommy Jones was just awesome when he stepped up, and Chris Barnes as well, very, very steady indeed. So we've got 4 players in this Scotch doubles in decent form on this lane, and after just missing out on a maximum in the Baker, there is an opportunity that these guys, if they can keep going as they started, could get pretty close to the big score.
It's not a usual format, Simon, that these guys play very often. It's, in fact, I think it's only the Weber Cup here that they actually play doubles like this. But that's a great start from Jones, who continues just to rip strikes for fun on this lane.
Well, in session 2, from Tommy Jones' point of view, that is just a shed load of strikes already, and he and Chris look very, very relaxed. Stuart Williams, great to see him back in Weber Cup action. Last played back in 2005 and has been a very welcome addition to the team this year. And a real contrast of styles from Europe to USA, and the strikes continue to flow.
Yeah, Stuart's had a very great year on the American Tour, won his first tournament in the World Series of Bowling Viper Open Championships. The first English player ever to win on the American Tour. So a little bit of history there. Puts himself in those history books. And opens with a strike.
US captain then steps up, Chris Barnes. He too was perfect in the Baker. He's found a nice line. He's found something that works for him. And it's got plenty of adjustment as well that he can make. And leaves a solid 7. He will not like that.
It wasn't a bad looking shot, was it? And the system is that Tommy Jones has to stand up and take the spare.
And that's not good. That is not good. That's your strike man taking spares.
This is the format. The lead won't change until they make a strike. So Barnes has to strike to let Jones get up and shoot the full rack of 10 next time. So, as I say, if they don't strike, Jones could be sparing all the way through this game.
But that was his job, and he did it well.
Yeah, hard and fast across the lane. Not looking for any hook at single pins. Mika Koivuniemi is up to lead because Stu Williams got a strike.
Oh dear. Well, Team Europe with an opportunity to open up a bit of a gap. Unfortunately for them, drop back down to the same potential maximum. That's providing Stuart Williams can hit this out.
Yeah, not the best shot in the world from Mika. High through the head pin, leaves the 3, the 6 and the 10. 3 diagonal pins on the right-hand side, which Stu Williams should take out. He's going to hit that 3 pin with some angle, let the ball run down.
Does it well, does it very well. Not a guaranteed spare, that one, so Stuart Williams takes it. Mika Koivuniemi with a shake of the head and an apology to his teammate. From Mika's point of view, I think the worrying thing there, Cass, is that that's very similar to the ball that cost us the maximum in the Baker game.
It was almost identical, Simon. Yeah, I wasn't quite sure whether you were going to go there, but yes, you're quite right. It was an errant shot, nowhere near the pocket.
Team USA back in business. Chris Barnes will know exactly what he feels that he needs to do to make sure he gets all 10 here. And he doesn't. He too finds a similar line to Mika in terms of how it ended up, straight through the headpin.
I kind of got the impression that the ball speed was a little bit low here. It just gave the ball too much time to hook up, and it did right at the end there. He's fortunate to break up that 6-pin and just leave a 2-pin spare for Jones to take away.
So Tommy Jones, the Barnsley strike machine, just has to content himself at the moment with spares, and once again Europe back in the driving seat. Just so long as Koivuniemi can make the strike, and this is where Scotch doubles can get interesting. You can actually see the score disintegrate if you've got your two bowlers that are stuck trying to make the strikes missing.
Yeah, stuck in the spare positions, shall we say, which is exactly what it can be. But there again, Simon, if everybody was striking, we'd have a pair of 300s, wouldn't we?
Yeah, that would not be as much fun, I can assure you. And that's why the 300 games on TV are so special. They come along very infrequently. Koivuniemi just making a minor adjustment there and finding the pocket far more convincingly, and that certainly has kept Team Europe in business.
Sliding into the rear of the commentary booth is Europe's Dom Barrett. Hello, Dom. Fantastic Baker game just now, almost made the 300.
Yeah, you know, first game of the session is probably the toughest because we had the first practice, which meant we had about an hour and 15 minutes off to come back and have 2 shots. So for us to bowl that good is quite surprising, really.
Yeah, we were actually hoping for a televised 300, but couldn't quite make it.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult in this lane. You get one lane, not a pair, and you have 8 bowlers or 7 other guys to bowl before you get another shot, so the lane changes a lot. Oh, there's Stewie.
Great looking shot from Stuart Williams, and that's double time. Managed to kick that 10-pin out, and that's 2 strikes in frames 3 and 4.
But Dom, that was a valuable point, wasn't it, in the Baker game?
It really was. You know, we don't really have to have too much of a discussion about anything before we go and play, but it's very important to have that point. We all knew we had to bowl a good game, and we can't control how well the other guys bowl, but we have to make sure that we bowl well ourselves, and we certainly did that game.
And every opportunity here of another point if Stuart and Mika can keep things going. But Dom, how about this man? Tommy Jones been bowling like a dream.
Yeah, every year Tommy is their #1 player. He's the player so we all fear to play. We quite, especially Stuart at the moment, is relishing playing Tommy. But he's got a great record in this lane, and the one thing I would say about this lane is the carry is very difficult. Like, you play around bowling centres and you have pins that have been bedded in for a few months, and we turn up on European or PBA tour, and even when the pins are new on those centres, because they're a centre and they have kickbacks that are piled up onto other lanes, that they do fly around. But here, apart from Osku and maybe Tommy, no one else can get another head pin on top of the deck at all. So carry is certainly the hardest, and Tommy can strike so much in this lane, it's very hard to keep up with him.
Yeah, pretty tough to bowl on brand new pins straight away. Unfortunately, Mika again has missed the 1-3 pocket, gone high through the head pin. Leaves the 6 and the 10 on the right hand side for Stu to try and spare.
Well, Dom, the European team nice and fired up at this session. We'll let you get back to the team and support, and before you go, just a quick congratulations for that PBA title. That was super stuff.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it's almost been a year and we're back at the World Series in a couple of weeks, so a bit of preparation, and both Stu and I bowled great out there and hope to go and do the same thing. Well
done, Dom Barrett. He's going to head back down to get behind the Blues, and they certainly need a bit of support here. It was ticking along very nicely, but I'm afraid again Mika just stumbling. So 10 pins difference at the moment, and Stuart and Mika just having a quick discussion about possibly what's happening to that lane condition. Barnes looking to make another strike here to keep that pressure on, and you know, this is where those years and years and years of collegiate bowling and professional bowling on the PBA Tour come into their own. Because essentially you've got two bowlers that, well, they know how to win when maybe they're not in the best of form, although you'd have to say both players look in pretty good form to me.
I would say they're pretty much lined up on this lane. Yeah, we know about TJ, we're not even going to talk about him, but Chris as well. And working as a doubles pair, yeah, they're looking pretty good. 3 strikes in a row. They've got the lead, and I'm sure they're going to try and hang on to it.
Well, to do that, they've got to keep outplaying Team Europe, and that little cluster of strikes there, the 3 strikes in a row, or turkey as it's called in ten-pin bowling, absolutely ideal. And Mika must respond, and what Team Europe don't want here is that he gets stuck not making strikes. And it was desperately important that he got that one. 7 took its time, but it's down.
Quite a contrast in that shot from the last 2 that Mika's made. He got the ball slightly wider, pushed it a bit faster, and just got that extra bit of length down the lane before it started to snap up in the back end. So he's just gone a fraction wider here. Hopes it's going to come back. It is a bit light, but he's got that hit them thin, make them spin reaction in the back end, and the 7-pin is the last one. And I wouldn't want to meet Mika on a dark night when he's in that sort of mood.
I think the moose meant that one. Jones, once again, looking to keep doing what he's been doing all session so far, striking. Ooh, something just caught his eye, and as all elite sports players will do, and not just in ten-pin bowling but across the board, if they're not ready to go, or if something does affect them, they are able to pull out of that process of delivering the ball, and then what they will always do is go back to the start of the routine. And for Tommy Jones, that's a fairly lengthy routine in terms of his preparation to throw the ball these days.
Yeah, he's got to get the rosin bag to dry his hand and clean the ball off. And it was, as you say, it was good that he regrouped. It's so easy to think, oh, I'll just keep going, and you get to the foul line and your mind's for a fraction of a second somewhere else and the ball's delivered wrong.
And it doesn't bother him at all. Like a machine at the moment, Tommy Jones.
Makes 4 strikes in a row for the Team USA, and the pressure is now building on the European duo. They have to keep striking as well.
Cracking crowd here in Barnsley. I mean, it's absolutely packed, and they were here a good 3 hours before this session started, making sure that they got the best seats in the house. And Team Europe in the Baker game, giving them something to cheer. And Stuart Williams certainly giving them something to get excited about there.
Yeah, another great looking shot. And the European captain looks quite happy. Stu's quite happy. They can talk about that one. But next time it's got to be Mika, and they have to keep striking.
Too close to call this one. Join us after the break to see if Europe do strike out and level the score here at Weber Cup 13.